we need to create millions of good new jobs. Well, I know where we can get at least 2.5 million good new jobs by building green buildings and retrofitting buildings up to the LEED standard here in the United States.
Recycling on a 4-stream recycling system. Typically at the convention center, 20% of all products are recycled. And this year the goal for Greenbuild is to have 80% of all waste be recycled through the 4-stream system.
What we did to come to Greenbuild is that we road trips, to cut our carbon footprint. Our entire exhibit that you can see fit in the back of a Grand Caravan along with the 3 of us. You walk around this exhibit floor, people have shipped very, very heavy exhibits from all over the country. The exhibit itself is made from sustainable materials as well as repurposed materials. Do the best we can to kind of green.
We had an aha moment of our own when we were brainstorming about Greenbuild and thought, all these booths, all these companies are touting their products and trying to sell. Why don't we turn the cameras and turn our tables to the participants and ask them for their stories and not sell anything, but ask really what their moment of clarity was in terms of green design or green living.
Let's get down to the demo. I'm going to flush both of them, and here we go. Watch this. Here comes our power surge, and look, in a matter of a couple of seconds, we're already flushed 1.28, and that's all it's done. Check this one out. It's a fire hydrant. It's going and going and going, and unfortunately, every time you flush your old toilet, that's all the water you're wasting. So it's time to change and save water with Kohler.
This is a really fun gift. This is Dutch design out of Holland. This is called the wooden memory stick. And imagine that juxtaposition against a sleek computer with that stick coming out. So it's kind of a play on words, but also a visual haiku there. And it's a full megabyte that they can use to transfer files. And then our neighbor was displaying this birdhouse. As the night approaches and it gets dark, the bird has an excellent little perch to come home to.
By just being able to touch the faucet, it really takes it to a whole new level. It's been kind of interesting for people who actually put them in, and then they go to somebody else's house, and they're over there tapping on the faucet because it's not working, because they get so used to it. So by watching how people interact, we were able to introduce the technology into this area.
We first went out to our suppliers and asked them about this, and it came back to 66,000 items that they said were green. From the 66,000, we picked 2,000. So we've set very high standards, a very high bar for products that we say are green based on the eco option standard.
We actually featured this carpet in the rhino cage at the Atlanta Zoo for 4 weeks, where we it was called the Rhino Challenge, and we let the rhinos sit there. I won't tell you everything that happened to the carpet, but you can just imagine. After 4 weeks, we took it out, and it was actually clean.
Fire codes that Phoenix has, and apparently one of the codes is you're not allowed to leave empty cardboard boxes on the display floor. We wound up sponging this fireproofing onto the surface so that there would be no fear of going up in flames.
So these were all the winners of our contest. The program was such a success that we partnered with Aloft Hotels for 2010. Our program will be challenging students to design furniture for placement in Aloft Hotels.
The main goal behind any green standard or any green initiative is to keep things in the life cycle longer. And our quote internally is that the longer in the life cycle, the less in the waste cycle. And what that means is the longer we can keep the sign on the wall, the less time it's going to spend in the landfill. Because we know that once it ends up there, that's where it's going to stay.
Project Frog has actually what we call a configurator, which is a set of basically CAD files that we give to the architect, which allows them to configure these parts and pieces in a model space. So literally I had an architect that I sent our configurator to on Sunday night, and they came back to us with a proposed 20,000 foot campus configuration by Wednesday.
Fabrics, tables, desks, just to kind of put it into context that all these materials and products can have a negative effect on indoor air quality, because in most cases they do emit often hundreds of different chemicals into the air that children would breathe. What GreenGuard does is we actually test all these products and certify them.
We also have a full circle program, which is about our sourcing for these interlayers. And we work with a non-profit group called Aid to Artisans, and they help us identify artisan groups around the world that are creating indigenous materials that are going to work with our design intent.
Introducing wool upholstery fabrics, organic wool, organically processed, as an alternative to recycled polyester fabric.
Into our sustainability journey, we are over halfway to our goal of zero environmental footprint.
I expect in the future that people will seek out products that they know that the materials are green for the next generation. When we look around our booth, we have products like the desk, which is called Envelop, which is a new desk that actually comes back and joins the worker so that in a reclined position they can be still in good ergonomic posture, which of course safety is part of any good environmental stewardship program.
Left to dry, and at that point when it's dry, it's ready for the second coat of material. Or Selena, for instance, is the finest aggregate material and it mimics the Venetian plaster. Major difference being it's completely repairable, unlike Venetian plaster.
If the sun is on an east-facing window, the shades are down, and as the sun moves throughout the day, going towards the west, the shades on the south window will come down automatically while the shades on the west come up. You wanted to change the room, bedroom, what it looks like aesthetically.
It used to be that people would call and ask for what is your environmentally friendly product. We now have a whole menu of green products under our Green Promise designation, from the very best product we make, Aura, to Natura, which is zero VOC, down to more competitively priced commercial products, EcoSpec and SuperSpec Green.
We're losing 2.2 trillion gallons of potable water every year because of our crumbling infrastructure. You can put a PVC pipe in. It doesn't require as much energy to push the water through the pipe because it's so smooth interior.
Roll it out just like sod, and once you water it in, you see that the roots will grow through the coconut fiber mat into the substrate, and that's when the sedum starts growing and it'll get about this high.
We actually manage more square feet of space for other people than any other company in the world. We manage over 1.5 billion square feet of floor space for other companies, and we do that in an energy efficient and sustainable way in every way that we can.
So pedal assisted bike, as you pedal, it gives you 2 units of energy for every 1 unit you put in. It's a lithium-ion rechargeable battery that pulls off and recharges in an included charger. The range on this in standard riding conditions is about 50 miles, between 40 and 60 miles to be.
Here at Greenbuild, we've launched the Pharos Project. The Pharos Project is a materials evaluation tool that looks at building materials across a range of impacts.
The group Mindshift, we've been together for about 3 years. We decided to assemble a group that represented the supply chain. So we have developer, tenant rep, architecture, design, engineering, construction, vendors, and a number of other stakeholders. What we wanted to do was learn how each other works. What do we need to be successful?
I'll tell you a little bit about Greenbuild 2010. It's going to be in Chicago, and I am the co-chair of the host committee for Greenbuild 2010. We're looking for students to volunteer. So please go to the local chapter website and check out our Greenbuild page, and we've got a volunteer page for you to sign up. See you in Chicago in 2010.